I've got to give Sonya Friedman credit for her interviewing skills and impromptu humor. Catch her the very last line of this video where she makes such a racy joke, punning off of one of Spalding Gray's works. Super intelligent. Super intelligent. Great interview as well. She gets Spalding to talk a lot about his mom's suicide and how he's had turned it into monologues and humor, and was it a coping mechanism, and was he over it? And as we all know, Spalding followed his mother to his grave, literally. So this is a great, great Spalding Gray interview. Superb. She flirts with him, and he almost can't deal with it, and then pulls the zinger at the end. So good.
Spalding Gray likes to talk. He is a storyteller in the old tradition, using no props, yet absorbing his listeners completely. In his best-known monologue, Swimming to Cambodia, he described his experiences acting in the movie The Killing Fields, and he joins us now to tell us about his latest work, Monster in a Box. Welcome.
Thank you.
You talk about yourself as a raving, talking head. What does that mean?
Well, Swimming to Cambodia was a film basically of my head, and I was talking and raving a lot. But I make fun of myself because I want to do it before someone else does.
In making fun of yourself, can you really stand back, get a perspective of what's going on in your life, who you are, as if it were somebody else viewing you?
Yeah, I know it's weird. I thought it was schizoid personality at first, and then I realized it was creative and turned it around. But you know, I have a director on this piece, my girlfriend, Renee Shafransky, is directing this. So she really is outside now, and she's really helping me. She gives me notes every night.
How is this one different, then, from any of the others we've seen?
Well, if you've read any of the reviews, they spell it out. They say it's more polished, it's funnier, it's much more tighter in its writing, and all of that is true. We've really worked on it like a well-shaped story, and Renee is a scriptwriter, so she was very influential in making structure.
How did you begin this concept of performance art, the autobiographical concept?
Well, I was working with the Worcester Group, an experimental theater group downtown that I co-founded, and this was back in 1977, and I was doing autobiographic pieces. One happened to be about my mother's suicide, and I stepped forward and spoke directly to the audience in that piece and said, I am Spalding Gray, and this is what happened to me, and then we played tapes and showed slides. It was a multimedia piece. But in that piece, I stepped forward and took, on the role of Spalding for the first time. Up until then, I'd been acting roles.
Well, who were you? I mean,
I was a regular person that was also an actor. That's what I did. I was a professional actor in an experimental theater company. And those things blended together, and I finally got more interested in autobiography than in other people's scripts.
Does this mean that you have two personas, your on-stage persona and your off-stage? I mean, is the person who is loquacious and speaking to the audience and telling all, is he shy and doesn't like to have personal conversations? I mean, you go to a party and you slink against a wall?
I don't go to parties. I just gave up drinking June 23rd. Parties are a real bore for me.
Was there a reason that you gave up drinking besides health?
Health was a big one. I mean, I was going in for major surgery for my eye. I had an eye operation in August. And also a curiosity, hey, to see what it would be like to be without a hangover for the first time, see what the difference is.
What is it like?
I wake up at 6 o'clock, wide awake. What's it like for you?
Well, I wake up at 5:45.
All right.
So it's not a problem.
Then you got to figure out what to do. You know what to do.
No, I must admit,
Yeah, I get up, I do yoga, I listen to the news, I answer letters. I'm much more focused.
Do you find yourself more creative in the mornings?
Yeah. It's really focused, really. It has to do with focus and attention. It just doesn't take as long to wake up.
Do you pay any attention to the critics? I mean, when they say things like self-indulgent, narcissistic, or just prattling on about himself, any of that stuff?
Now, you know what? I didn't read the reviews this time around because I was so devastated, actually, by reading the reviews of my performance in Our Town as the stage manager on Broadway, that all the actors told me, don't read the reviews. So this time we expected the worst. And Renee went out and read them at a coffee shop and called me and said, now, I want to tell you, every review was excellent, but I still don't want you to read them because it will go either way. It's going to swell your head. Let's just do the run, read them afterwards. I think it's the best way to go.
But you have a real thing about, like, not being a celebrity and not putting yourself forward in that way. Why is that?
Because I want to continue doing monologues. And celebrities get to be known in all situations, and suddenly they are wearing sunglasses and they're not looking out. Everyone's looking at them. If I can't look out anymore without sunglasses, I've got no more material.
Well, give us an example of your observations. You've spent some time in L.A. and you've spent some time here in New York. Is there a difference as you observe people in places, L.A. vis-a-vis New York?
Well, I can remember what comes to mind immediately is after having been in Los Angeles for a year, living up in the Hollywood Hills, out there for a project that I talk about in the monologue, I am an obsessive walker, and I would go out in my neighborhood and see no one. I'd feel very alone. I'd see houses, I'd hear birds and wind chimes, but no one. Now, I came back to New York City just for, it was around Mother's Day, just for a quick visit for a couple of weeks before I had to go back to Los Angeles. And I decided, I remember it was Sunday, it was Mother's Day, and I was going to walk from my downtown loft in Soho to my therapist's office just to say hi on 104th and Central Park West. And I walked, and I realized what I loved about New York, human nature. I walked, I talked with people that recognized me from shows, strangers, people I had known before, musicians playing. I just felt all of a sudden this grapevine of humanity that New York has. Human nature versus nature. And I still go for the human nature. The flowers and the birds are great in L.A., but I still go for the people.
You talk a lot about your mother's death in your pieces, and yet I have a sense as I hear you that you've made some peace with it, and you talk about it, you expose it, and you bring people into your life. Is it an emotional healing that is still going on, or is it something that's already happened?
It's been a major, long process. The first work with the Worcester Group, when I did Rumstick Road, where I explored I went back and taped my relatives and asked them, why do you think she did it?
Great idea.
My father, my grandmother, and of course everyone had a different opinion, so it was you have to see it from a variety of ways. This was a very serious piece. And in some way, it was a mourning piece to me, because I was not there. I was in Mexico and was unable to be contacted for this. So that was a very strong, serious piece. And because I did that and did a long run of it, it freed me up, I think, to have finally a sense of humor, like at the end of a funeral in New Orleans when they play the jazz music, a celebration. So now I'm coming at the material lighter, with that distance and freed up, whereas the audience, they haven't gone through it, so a new audience hears me speaking about it. It's a little bit of a bomb, I know, to mention it in my monologue, because they don't know quite what to do with it, and some of them are laughing, some of them are like, how can we laugh at this? But you know what I mean, it's quite a mix.
Is it okay for people to laugh? If
Everything is okay. I'm not into censorship. If people are laughing, they're laughing. Often it's nervous laughter. You know, I can remember playing it in St. Louis and saying, and while in the monologue I say, when I was in Mexico, my mother committed suicide, and there was one woman in the middle that just let out with this big roar. It was a cackle. And the whole audience just was silent, and then they laughed at her laugh. But it was obviously just complete nervous laughter that came out of this very unexpected.
I understand your next monologue, you're going to speak a great deal about your organs, your sexual organs. And I wanted to know if you would give us just a tease.
You know,
you don't have to.
You know what? I haven't even begun to evolve the next monologue.
Well, now you'll think about it, and then next time around, perhaps.
I did find out, actually, Renee, I just bought a present for Renee. Facts and Fallacies. It's a wonderful book, all about the penis. And I found out that I have a large one. I didn't know that until I read the book.
Well, maybe we should give that book to a lot of people. They'll feel a lot better about themselves. Yeah. Ask Renee to pass that along to me.
Well, no, people should buy it. It's in the bookstore. It's wonderful.
Oh,
Facts and Fallacies.
Okay, then we'll just go ahead and buy it. Thank you. We'll find out more about what you find out about yourself on your next visit.
Great.
Thanks for being with us today.
Oh, you're
Good
welcome.
luck with Monster in a Box, and we'll be right back.
Thanks for watching Cleveland Live Music. It's awfully bright out here. I'd click on another one of my videos. Quit looking into the sun. Your mother told you not to do that. Please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to support the channel more, there's GoFundMe and Patreon information in the video descriptions. Ooh, ooh!